let's expand this because you're playing quite a role, actually, consciously, unconsciously, seen or unseen. You're very much engaged in creating websites and social networking and social interaction. How is that unfolding? Yeah. Talk about that from your standpoint, because you're bringing a lot to this whole process that's quite admirable.
Thank you. Well, obviously, everybody knows the impact of social and media networking and how it really impacted, especially the young people and the way they gathered and the way they gathered information to how they learned and how they got together and moved things along. In my experience, of course, I want to use that technology to bring sacred commerce to the world. My job, being a businessman, I'm a storyteller, businessman, is really to support those thousands of amazing teachers and authors and practitioners and coaches and businesses to actually move out of the old way of doing business, maybe partly poverty consciousness, into really abundance and the ability to really be able of being of impact, much more. So one way how I'm using that is through the whole life expos and conferences, which me and lots of partners bought a few years ago, and we're trying to take it online and global. The way we're doing that is by creating a social media network, combination of a Facebook, YouTube, and live streaming and so on, providing our 20,000, 30,000 clients, which are all the conscious businesses and conscious teachers who really are creating the new world, not a better and improved, to support them with the tools, the technology tools, with monetization tools, so they can really be able to put their message out to make money along the way. Because they are teachers, they are healers, they are artists, they're not business people, they're not technology people. So my job to see that is by providing them the tools of community and the tools of media and the tools of business put together so that they can use those technologies. Is it within the wholelife.com website, which will be a collaborative platform where they can all support each other, and or by themselves by taking those products and putting them on their own website and their own portals or whatever, and use that to do that individually or collaboratively. That's why, think community and media and networking, technology, and especially adding to them the tools to make money, the tools to syndicate, to really have impact very fast is really essential, because our spiritual movement for the last 30 years, and now it's getting much better, but it was living in poverty consciousness where spirituality and money would not be, they were like separate. I don't blame them. I mean, most people see what happened, the effect of commerce and the old commerce, the unconscious commerce on the world. But supporting all those amazing young people or even older people into really giving them the tools to really start together collaborating and creating this new world that we are embarking on. And that's where I see my job. And to do that by creating happiness and joy and feeling good and so on.
Yeah, this is so important what you're saying. To everybody who's listening, we've gone on for years of I'm a teacher and I'm a healer and I don't know how to make any money. And there's nothing wrong with money. Making money is how you pay your rent. But what's so exciting about what you're doing here, Ayman, is that there's an opportunity for everybody listening. In fact, let's just talk about that because, there's a lot of people out there that we have seen that are enlightened. They're spiritual light workers. They hold the banner, and yet they're waiting for God or the universe or something to come and reward them for their spiritual enlightenment. And so if any of you are one of those, get over it. Because what's happening in this whole process of spiritual commerce, this shift in where we're going, it really is about co-creation and cooperation and community. Yes. It's not about what's outside of you. It's about what's inside of you, and it has to happen in a cooperative version. And when you get someone like Ayman saying, here, let me present a template that will allow you to kind of uplift and go out and experience and be successful, this is the new commerce that's coming about. It's so exciting. You want to say what that website is and how people get in touch with you?
We are in a beta testing mode, but people still can go to it and play with it. And for teachers and authors, they can submit to, and we can create for them channels. Basically, they go to wholelife.com, WHOLE, life, L-I-F-E, one word, wholelife.com, and they become member of the community, like they become member on Facebook, where now all the light workers can communicate together. They can create a community, or they can create a group, and they can create channels that are syndicatable, brandable, monetizable, and they can take it to their website. There's two things. There's for the members, for the public, who can basically have a network, not unlike Facebook, but for the spiritual people and the conscious businesses, and for the teachers and authors and the healers, where they can have all those tools which they can take and use them, to promote their work and make money with it, through it, and so on.
Sure, terrific.
I'm building the same thing in the Middle East here, because, as you said, people here are 40% unemployed, and they need those tools, to really start creating a new life for themselves, because there's no personal development at all here. There's no spiritual development. There's only religions, mostly religions, and they're mostly an education that's only geared to create public servants.
But in real terms, all over the world has been structured in the last 40, 50, 100 years in such a way that the individual doesn't have choice. The individual has pathways to follow, but those are not necessarily choices. They're just either or. And even in the United States, we are not given good intellectual, emotional, decision-making skill sets in our educational systems. And so there are some very talented people in the world listening on this call that simply have great information and skills and are focused in their own particular area, but outside of that healer or teacher or that great gift that they have as an artist, I don't know how to make money. We've never been taught how to present ourselves, how to co-create, how to work into a cooperative system. It's not the way it was anywhere in the world in our consciousness, but that's all changing. So you've got to step out and co-create with people, and happy is the result, as I've watched it for years and years.
Thanks God now, and there are many amazing people who are working with children, trying to infuse the education system with the concept called financial literacy, to teach them that from young age, as I've been doing for the last 20 years when I brought emotional literacy to the world and starting to create products and services and curriculums, and because I knew that if kids were emotionally literate, then they can really thrive and prosper, and with whatever they encounter in their life, they can really move forward. And really, spiritual literacy and emotional intelligence or literacy is really the precursor to spiritual intelligence and spiritual literacy, because without it, you end up being a more kind of strict, religious, following rules and regulations and so on, instead of custom designing your own spiritual path.
It's so amazing to me when we work from the attention point, meaning where do I place my attention? When you work from the attention point inside, knowing that you're capable and certain and you have a presence and there's a graciousness and a command, what happens is from that attention point, from that alignment, the ability to interact with anything outside of you becomes simply a conversation, an observation, a choice, an action. There's no fear. You can have permission to walk away. But when we're so anchored into what's outside of us, biting us, yelling at us, telling us we're not okay, that internal alignment never gets nurtured. And so this shift of consciousness, whether it be commerce or individuality, is really all about beginning to find this happy, certain, capable graciousness that really never went away. It's always been there. We haven't. We've moved away from it. It's time to come back, and that's what's happening. So what you're doing is tremendous. Yeah, what you're doing is really tremendous. I'm very admirable of what you're doing.
If you enjoyed this highlight from Conversations with Join Jim Self live on the third Tuesday of every month at 5 p.m. U.S. Central Time for more stimulating and enlightening discussions with leading-edge teachers, channels, and authors. Conversations With is live on the Awakening Zone Network. That's awakeningzone.com. If you're looking for free tools for your personal and spiritual growth, if you want to be who you came here to be, visit masteringalchemy.com, where you can learn more about Jim, his work, and future guests in this series. Our theme song is Hands of Love by Barry Goldstein. May you experience laughter and grace on your journey home.